Welcome to the Hello Seattle podcast, a local perspective on living in and moving to Seattle.
Yeah, we're excited to introduce you to people, places, and communities that make living in our hometown special.
Hello, Seattle. I'm Zach McDonald, your host.
And I'm Dan Keller, your co-host. We've got a really fun episode today talking about another neighborhood in Shoreline, Highland Terrace. Now, Zach, I don't know if you know this. I just looked this up, but they call Highland Terrace the balcony to Seattle. Are you familiar with that?
That's a new term for me.
The balcony to Seattle. Where is Highland Terrace relative to downtown Seattle?
Yeah, I think that's fair because it is essentially the last neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You've got a few neighborhoods kind of bordering 145th on the east side as well. We talked about the Highlands last week, which borders Seattle, and Highland Terrace is right there on the edge, on the east side of the Highlands. So this neighborhood's super close to Seattle. You have 145th as the border on the south side. You got the Highlands, as we talked about, on the west side. There's the Aurora or Highway 99 on the east side. And then on the north end, you've got a few of the other neighborhoods that we've talked about, the Richmond Highlands and Interurban.
Okay.
There's a little section too. There's this little pocket, the Westminster Triangle. It's super small.
Okay.
There's hardly anything there, I would say, as far as a neighborhood goes. It's a tiny little pocket, and we'll talk a little bit about it, right, and share some of the cool things about it. But it's this little pocket. The biggest neighborhood there, though, on the end there is the neighborhood that also has the Central Market, or what used to be Central Market, Town and Country Market, Shoreline Community College. This neighborhood used to be Seattle as well. So we talked about this in the original podcast about Shoreline as a whole. Shoreline used to be Seattle. Unincorporated Seattle. And so this is about as close as you're going to get to Seattle while not being in Seattle.
Yeah, that little, what did you call it, Westminster area? Is a really unique area for shopping. In fact, it's completely growing and has been redeveloped. Like you said, Town and Country, that's actually where my wife and I grocery shop. In my opinion, they have the best fresh produce department and meat department and actual live fish department. They have live crab, live shrimp, live clams and oysters. Great. But then also in that shopping center, they've just put, there's Chipotle, and they're putting in a lot of new Chipotle type restaurants, like dining.
Bigger chains, things like that. You got the Round Table Pizza.
Right. Yep.
I feel like that. I thought that business went out of business. I remember Round Table Pizza as a kid, and we'd go there and have their pizza buffet. And it seemed like they closed almost all their restaurants at one point, and then they've started expanding again. I don't know the whole story. Round Table Pizza, but it's kind of fun to see them there. That
little triangle does kind of butt up right there to 99. And then obviously 99 is from there, you're about 12 miles to downtown Seattle. So not that far away. If you're on Interstate 5 and you're cruising past Shoreline, you're going to take the 145th Street exit. That's it.
I think you take 145th, or if you were going maybe a little bit on the other side, you could take 175th as
175th and come down.
Probably more from the north side. So kind of sandwiched in between two of the main Shoreline exits. I would say the coolest part about this neighborhood, well, there's a few different things. We talked about Shoreline Community College, and that is we had the community college and the school district. We talked about this in the first episode that helped with the name of the city. Right. The schools were there before the city, and that's part of where the name came from. The Shoreview Park is awesome. It's really close to Interurban as well. You've got the Little League fields there. You've got tennis courts, playground, trails, and it backs up to the community college there. My kids love going there. There's also Boeing Creek Park. Technically, it's not in the neighborhood, but parts of it touch or border it. And you've got the Boeing Creek Trail there. You've got a restored creek. Interestingly, when we first started going to this park, there was a lake called Hidden Lake. And it was dammed up to make this little lake. A few houses were on it. I wouldn't say there's anything cool about the lake. I don't know.
The aerial, if you look at the aerial, it's just it looks like a big old dirt patch.
Yeah.
right now.
And it's a wetland, reforming wetland, which is really cool to see the restoration there. I believe that it was intended for some fishing, capture the fish, but then the fish couldn't get out, which is why they wanted to restore the creek to its original condition. But fun, I think of going to Chipotle as well. That's our most common outside of the parks. We go to the Chipotle there. Other than that, you've got just some houses in the neighborhood. There's no planned development. We talked about that. There's a few different planned communities in Shoreline that are fairly exclusive. This one is not a planned community. You've got all sorts of different types of housing, a lot of mid-century modern type of houses.
They say in describing Highland Park, they describe it as mid-century meets modern. So you got a lot of these like 1950s style homes, or your mid-century modern homes. Then you got the 1980s split levels and stuff like that.
Got some of those mixed in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Some of maybe some of the larger lots that got subdivided and built on.
With the newer stuff. The other thing,
some teardowns too in new construction. Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
Seen a lot of that. I drive through. By the way, I drive through this when I go to Ballard, and I'll come the back way into Richmond Beach. I actually drive through this community. It's beautiful, and you're going to notice that it's very, very secluded and woody. So kind of like Woodway, where there's a lot of trees. You're gonna, if you did it and looked at the aerial map of this particular neighborhood, you're going to see a lot of trees. You're going to see a lot of like hills leading down to the water too. So pretty secluded.
Can we talk about the town and country market a little bit? Because you mentioned that your family shops there regularly. Yep. We tend to just go to QFC, or the Fred Meyer. It's convenient, But tell us what people love about town and country market from your experience.
Yeah, town and country is, I would say it's a little bit more. Kind of like your Whole Foods meets like a QFC, right? Kind of that medium where you're not just all Whole Foods and their brand and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The deli, they have an amazing deli there. Everything's fresh. They have an amazing, produce department and a meat department. Very few stores nowadays have bulk foods departments. Whole Foods does and Sprouts does. So Town and Country has that. I love it. I really like it. They carry some name brands. They also carry a lot of the off brands that are more like nutritional health based foods. So, a really, really good grocery store. I like being able to, I don't like having to drive to go get groceries. I look at it kind of as an inconvenience.
It's convenient for you.
Yeah, but the fact that they have I can get an incredible filet, reasonably priced. They're, a good cut of meat. Stuff like that is fresh. Seafood is fresh when I'm not out on the water catching it myself. So
you mentioned it has in your opinion, some of the best steaks.
I'm either going to go to Double D Meats.
I was going to say, where would you rate it? Double D Meats or Town and Country?
So Double D is a butcher shop, right?
Yeah.
So if you need, like a big prime rib or you need ribs or something like that, I'm going to go to Double D's. If I just want a really good, like the thing I love about Town and Country too is it's not every day they carry this, but once a month or so, or every other month they'll rotate. They'll get like a Wagyu cut, which is a higher end, higher fat content, but just you can't find them at your normal grocery stores, and they're fresh. And so, like right now, they have New York Wagyu A5 New York strips, and you cut them with a fork. They're that tender, so good. So, and no, we are not plugging. We're not getting paid to plug Town and Country.
No, we're not. No. We should have sponsorships.
We should.
Yeah.
But no, that's where we grocery shop, and I love the freshness of their delis and their meat departments and produce. And it's convenient. I think from where I live, we're just right down from Highland Terrace in Richmond Beach, 10 minutes.
Yeah. So
QFC is closer, but I'll drive a little extra for a better cut of meat, in my opinion.
That's fair. And it's a little bit farther for you to get to Mountlake Terrace, even than that. So it makes sense to not drive past the good spot that you got.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, did you have any other thoughts on the neighborhood? I think we got to talk about the pricing a little bit, right?
That's a great transition.
Thinking about real estate.
Yeah.
We're looking at we talked about the different housing types already. Price range, if you're thinking about making a move into the neighborhood, you're looking at about $975 for a single family house. Condos are in that $350 to $550 range. There's not a lot of condos, but there are a few. The other stat that we talk about a lot, the median sales price in general for the whole neighborhood, $875. This is on the west side of Shoreline, west side of Highway 99, one of the more affordable neighborhoods as far as prices go. And you have a lot of the same conveniences. You are farther south though. So instead of having the QFC and the Fred Meyer being kind of the hub, we were talking about, now you've got the Town and Country.
You're off the beaten path too. You're off Aurora, which is also good. Yeah,
but this neighborhood is pretty close to Aurora. Yeah. So there are parts of this neighborhood that back up to Aurora. So you are a little bit closer to Highway 99 than you would be. But you're also super close to the Interurban Trail.
That's it.
Which is super cool. That's right through that Westminster triangle. You've got the Interurban Trail. So you can bike to work. You can walk to work. Not that you're going to walk that far. But you can go walk, run, jog, whatever, scoot. There's a lot. I mean, there's...
I've seen it.
You can do...
Our clients do it.
You're not... I don't think you're supposed... You can't bring a motorized vehicle on it. Right. But the Interurban Trail's right there. And you have convenience to the light rail stations and all that.
I think if someone were to ask me about, Highland Terrace and what I thought about it, and the first thing that would come to mind is that you're so close to downtown, but you feel you've got that suburban feel.
Definitely doesn't feel like you're in the city.
Right.
By any means.
Not at all. And you're very close. And then the second thing, which was transitioning right into what we want to talk about next, is affordability. I think you can get some, you said median, but you could get some homes under, like 750, 850 there. Yeah. So I think affordability is amazing considering the proximity to Seattle.
I agree. And I think, there's plenty of houses in that 800 and 900 range in this neighborhood. You don't see that as much on the west side of Shoreline. Now, when we go to the east side of Shoreline, we're going to see a little bit more affordability in certain neighborhoods.
But
we're seeing here on the west
side. Different world. You're not going to see as much of the trees and the
very different
parks.
So we're kind of hitting that transition point in the podcast, jumping over to the other side of Highway 99. But before we end, as far as for somebody that's thinking about making a purchase, we always give a little bit of a mortgage spotlight just so people know, okay, this is what the real numbers would look like. What does that look like? Yeah, somebody wanted to plant roots here.
Yeah, so it's more of a hey, I like what you guys are saying. I like Highland Terrace. Let's make it more of an affordability spot. Like what does it cost to actually live here? And so property taxes, we're going to estimate right under 1% of the value. So for this sake, I'm just using your actual real-time data from the Northwest multiple listing. You said median home value right around $975. I'm going to take 5% down. The average down payment in King County, Snohomish County right now is right around 5 to 7%. So we'll just say 5% down, $975. I'm going to estimate property taxes, private mortgage insurance. I'm going to estimate homeowners insurance. And I'm also going to throw in there, I'm going to assume that you have some monthly revolving debt of about $500 a month. So nothing crazy. I'm going to pause because I'm going to talk about some numbers and give my Washington State and national mortgage broker ID number.
I should have this memorized at this point.
Should be up on the screen right now. But if you're listening to this on a podcast, my name is Dan Keller. I'm with New American Funding. And I'm a licensed Washington State mortgage professional. My MLO number is 115349. Now, I'm using assumptions. So this isn't a quote. These are just assumptions based on, a credit score of 760, a down payment of 5%, things like that. All things included in a monthly payment. You're going to need to afford a house in this area at $975. You're going to need to make approximately $14,800 a month. Okay. Total household income. Now, what is that multiplied by 12? It's just under 180. So $178,000 a year total household income, 5% down. And, we're filming this and we're recording this in September of 2025. 30-year fixed rates are dropping from, 6 weeks ago, they were in the 7s and now they're in the low 6s. So I did use 6.25 as kind of the qualifying rate for these numbers. So, just under $15,000 a month total household income. And that's what people are earning to buy in Highland Terrace.
Yeah, so a little bit more affordable than some of the other neighborhoods we've talked about recently. You also mentioned interest rates. That has a big impact on what is affordable versus not affordable for people, right? Because that's affecting the monthly payments in a huge way. So those could change. But still, the neighborhoods in general, right, no matter what the interest rates end up being the neighborhoods have tended to stay in those same pockets, right? Some are a little more desirable for different reasons, more expensive, more exclusive, and they've remained about the same with the shifts in the interest rate. So it's still a good ballpark.
Yeah. And we talk about this all the time too. We're just using kind of some average numbers, like average down payment, stuff like that. If you're putting 20% down or you're putting more, obviously these numbers change. They improve for you from an affordability standpoint. So we always encourage you, if you have any questions, which we do get messages often about, hey, you know, we listen to your podcast, we have some questions on this. We don't need to run your credit. We can have an off the record conversation. But Zach sells real estate, a lot of it. I do mortgages, a lot of them in the community. And so if you're looking for more of a local expert, that's one of the reasons why we have this podcast, is to meet new people. But the other is to help our clients that are relocating to the greater Seattle area better understand communities. So when we sit down and we meet with them, they're like, hey, we're thinking of the Shoreline area. Cool. We can send you that series so you can learn about these different, 14 different neighborhoods in Shoreline.
And we're almost halfway through. So, and the other thing we talked about too in the first episode is we both live in Shoreline.
Yeah. That makes it special.
Which makes it kind of fun. So anyways, it's good to see you all. If you have questions, like Dan said, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you here on the next episode. Bye, Shoreline.